Welcome back to the Cuties 2 by Kimber Bell. This is the newest book for the rest of the year from July to December, and we're starting with the July table topper called Picnic in the Park. One of the things that I wanted to point out is they have rewritten the directions so that it makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to start with the picture. It shows you the picture of the table topper in its entirety. The first thing they list are the stabilizers. Now, the light mesh cutaway is a stabilizer that we use. It's no-show mesh, or we sell it by the yard. Whisper Web Mesh is another product. And then the fusible backing is what we use, the Pellon Shape Flex, to back the fabric pieces. And then the project batting is the Kimberbells. However, if you like a different batting, you can go ahead and use that. It apparently works the same, but I like the Kimberbell. Now, here's the block with the quilting options. And in the block by block directions, it lists the designs that you're going to use. Now, on the CD are the center designs. So this center embroidery design is on the CD. The ant is extra. The embroidery design for the basket is on the CD. But the triangle art is extra. So if you choose to purchase the quilting designs, which I highly recommend, then you are going to follow the block by block quilting design suggestions. Of course, these are only suggestions, but I think the ant looks so cute, so I would definitely use that. And then, of course, the triangle is just the ant again. But these borders, the first one is the beads border, and it's just a little circle connected with it to another circle. And then the argyle, the 2-inch design, is just a basic general quilting design. So the little one, the interior one, is the inner borders, the outer borders is the argyle, and the inner one are the beads. Now, lastly, each month there's a different bitty block too. So for this month, it's the watermelon. Now, if you choose to do the traditional quilting, what you will do is assemble your whole quilt together first, make your sandwich with your backing, and then do your traditional quilting the way you typically do. Stitch in the ditch, free motion stippling, or whatever you choose. Now, there are new centers for these 3 projects. There's three center designs for these 6 projects. And this month is the squares design. And it shows you right here that you are going to make 4 of the squares design. Then you're going to do the triangle, and you are going to do 4 of those. Now, if you have done a Cuties before, this is very similar, much the same, just different designs as the ones that we have done from January to June. The last recommendation is the borders and bindings on page 44, so you would follow those directions. But I've given different directions too. You can use either. And then I started assembling our threads. So I've written down the threads so far that I've used, and then I'll take a picture of them and send it to you. Alrighty, let's take a look at what the quilt block looks like. So I have chosen our particular colors. What the heck is that hanging? Okay, there we go. And I really like how this turned out. And those ants are just so cute. And I have made all 4 of the blocks. This one is waiting to be stitched on, or stitched together, I should say. These 2 blocks are already stitched together, and you can see how they line up. And mine is a wee bit off, so I'm going to have to either take it out or leave it. So right here it's not matching up, and so I probably will take it out so I can line it up. one of the things you want to make sure to do is cut the block correctly. And now there is a 5.5-inch block by Creative Grid that works really, really well. So the first thing you'll notice on the ruler is the white line going down the vertical line and the horizontal line. Now let me switch for a minute so I can point out some things. So right here in the center, let's see if I can, see it's not showing up real quick. Let's see if I bring it down here. There, now it shows up. See that little circle right there? That's the center of the block. And 1/2 of 5.5 is 2 3/4. So this white line represents the vertical center, and this other white line represents the horizontal center, making it super easy to line them up. Also, the last embroidery stitch is this blue triangle, or that's a square. What am I talking about? And that's a square, and then you're going to use a different color, and in this case I used the blue that was on the square because I could see it. Now down here it's not really obvious. I might have used white, but we'll see. It should work out pretty good. You're going to use those marks to line up that ruler. So in order to do that, we're going to go over here. So I'll move this aside. And I'll zoom in so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. All right. You can see the little mark right here, that little blue center line, and that's what I'm going to line up with that white vertical line. Just like that. Then at the bottom, I'm going to make sure that this lines up too. And this ruler fits right inside, follows that stitch line that you created. So not only do you have marks where to line the center of the ruler, but you have a line to line up the edge of the Creative Grid ruler. So that should help. I still ended up getting it crooked though, so. Alrighty. So I'm going to line this up as best as I can. Then I'm going to cut across right here. My blade is starting to go. All right. Now I'm going to move this little mat, this little green mat. We have them at the store too. Mine I picked up at Dollar Tree. And checking again to make sure that it lines up. I'm going to cut this like that. And I'm going to rotate it just like that. Hoping you can see it. Put it more into focus. I don't want you to see my head though. There, that little white line, that guideline is lined up with that little mark from that last stitching. Okay, there we go. Now I'll turn it this way, making sure that everything is lined up again. And there we go. Lined up. All right, now, one of the ways to line up these points, which should make it really helpful, because it doesn't go like, let me show you something. It doesn't go like that. That's wrong. It goes like this. So it shows every other block. All right? So what we have to do is line up this point down here and line up the point right here. Now you'll also notice that when you flip your block over, you have the quarter line to stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this together. I'll stitch it to the other row that I finished. It'll look like this, because this is going to go in this direction. And then I'm going to show you how I did the outer, or I'm sorry, not the outer borders, the inner borders.